when we stepped out into Crossway, God just introduced us to a few folks that had stepped into the prophetic a little bit, who had really gone after healing in a way that just me and my background had never. We put people on prayer lists, and when we'd gone to Honduras, y'all talking about Honduras earlier, Rose, when we went to Honduras was the first time that I was around somebody who said, man, let's pull out the oil, and let's anoint with oil, and let's pray, and let's believe. And I remember thinking, man, I was just off the charts then. I was getting crazy, you know. But as we stepped into some of this, we've realized over these years that without some of the prophetic words from God to put with the Word of God, we don't know if we could have stayed afloat. And there were some tough days, there were some seasons that you're like, Lord, when the enemy comes like a flood, right? And God would just raise up a standard. And so that, understand our hearts. If we share anything specific, we're always going to comfort, going to encourage, going to build up. Bless me, Christy said that y'all been doing, some of you ladies have been doing some teaching on the prophetic and stepping in. And it's just so powerful. You know, when we, around our area, we've got a lot of United Pentecostals, we've got a lot of Baptists, and you hear some about tongues and some of the things of the Spirit, but we never heard much about prophecy. And it's so interesting that in the Scriptures, Paul says, man, I wish that everybody would prophesy, that you all could just bring it, because what? We as a body, we need that fresh word from heaven. So that's what I'm fixing to try to share with you. Go take your Bibles and go to Numbers 13. I believe this is going to be kind of a fresh prophetic word for this house, and then I believe God's going to have some individual things with that. But driving down, it was a pretty good little haul. We came through Bucket Tunnel on 45, and then we came in, I guess it was 57 maybe. I don't know if I've ever been down that strip. There's not much out there. I got to notice that. Well, that's probably why I did it. And so making that trip, I felt like, because we had big Thanksgiving. Stacy grew up a Catholic family with about, 10 total, right? All brothers and sisters, huge family. So we got together yesterday for their Thanksgiving lunch. Big feast, big fun time with all of them. And then handled some change and stuff, and then came on down, you know. And we really just riding in. I felt like, Lord, I don't really know what you're going to do at Faith United Methodist tomorrow night. I'm excited about being a part of it, you know. And so that's my prayer as you leave here, that you go home and say, man, that you're encouraged to step into all that God has for you. We heard a word probably this past year. I want you to just kind of pray into this. A few reliable prophetic voices have spoken into our lives. The first one used this. It was called, they just said, original intent. When they spoke original intent, I thought, what's that really mean? And what God has helped us see, I want you to kind of process this in your life. All of us have some ups and downs or some curves we've gone through. And sometimes you start feeling like, okay, I know God can work all things together for His good. We know that in Romans. But sometimes you start thinking, well, plan A, I bet I lost that a long time ago. Maybe the best I can do now is about plan C. And it's a lie that the church has believed. We thought, well, we know He forgives us, we understand all that, but we think, man, I don't know if God's big enough to bring about original intent. You feel that? I felt that go out. So, see, do you believe that whatever stage of the game, whatever age, whether you've been through a divorce, you've had problems with children, you've had finances, whatever it is our God? We sang, oh Lord my God, awesome wonders. See, I really believe we've brought Him down. And we try to do all this good stuff for Him. And He's saying, if you'll just get out in a place where you can't handle it, I'll show you who I am. and that's what's been going on in our lives. So I speak that to you, if that's a word for you, that original intent. Maybe when you were, it blessed me to hear that Jeff got his call to preach in this church years ago. When I looked at the little kneeling areas, First Methodist in Philadelphia has a little cushion in front of their kneeling rail. And when I was growing up, like I said, I didn't really get born again. I love the Methodist teaching of prevenient grace. It was like God was wooing me and drawing me, but Franklin Graham was preaching at Promise Keepers down in New Orleans. I was in the Superdome when I got saved. How about that? That doesn't help me. I'm in the upper deck of the Superdome, and I always felt like, man, I'm a good old boy. My mama thinks I'm a good one, you know. And I'm in the upper deck of the Superdome, and I just began to weep. I mean, the greed, the lust, the pride, the power, all of this. And God just wrecked me, man. Cleaned my mouth up overnight. The next morning I thought, where are all those words that used to do that? You know? but God had been working before that. But I knelt at one of those rails in First Methodist Church. And I used to have, back when I was little, I would love, He Makes Me Glad. There's a sweet little old Methodist hymn that used to always just ring my bell. But I came back from that altar one day and I told my mama, I'm going to be a preacher one day. She never told me that. She never even reminded me. And so then I get rocked at 23. Instead of going into the $1 million grocery business that my family had, God says, how about you come follow me? And then now, I just turned 44. I got the same birthday as Jen. I just turned 44 Friday. And Stacy and I, we stepped out. We started Crossway about 6 years ago. And it did a lot for the people in the church and for our area. But it did more for us than it was like we just started growing, and it was just such liberty and all this stuff. And I was hearing that in that last song. There's such liberty here today. I hope you sense that. And where the Spirit of the Lord is, there's liberty. There's freedom, right? So whatever you're needing, whether it's like that woman touching the hem of the garment, it's not about me or Stacy, right? You just reach out to Him today, right? He's got the pain. He's got it all. He just wants us to believe and reach out. And so let me share this with you. Numbers chapter 13. You know the story, but I want to really challenge you with this because, see, I believe, it's my brother, as he mentioned, Trump and the New Year, the election, and the nation. Without getting political, I just believe there's some people that really believe that this nation, not because of one man or one party, understand, it's almost like some hope has risen up in some people that things are about to change, that we may really make America great again, that we may really start to build roads and all this kind of stuff. But I believe it ties in to the whole spiritual thing God's doing in His church, in His people. And so whatever, here's what I want to ask you. What's the promised land that God spoke to you about years ago that you don't think you've ever quite stepped into fully? Because see, if you hadn't stepped in, right, the enemy comes to steal, kill, destroy. He comes to do all that. But today, I believe God's saying, you can step into original intent. You can say, Brother Chris, I was 20 when I felt like God was leading me to that. I'm 50 now. Who cares, right? The Spirit of God is speaking to you and saying, come on, right? All you have to do is believe, right? We've really been growing. That's why I love the Faith United Baptist Church. What does he say? Without faith, it's impossible to please God. Come on. We can feed hungry people, so we love doing it. We can prophesy to people. Paul said in 1 Corinthians 13, you can do all these things. If you don't have love, you just miss it, right? But he said, what? If you're living a life of not faith, you just become a religious routine, right? And so what he's done with us, back about a year ago is when God called us to begin to let go of the reins at Crossway Community Church. God's done some awesome things there. But he started saying it's time to let go. Stacy shared with Christy last night, or this morning, said, it's like, Lord, you know, we helped birth this thing. Lord, we saw so much that you did and blessed and all this stuff. So God began to say, I want you to let go of it. So then we worked through, Lord, what do we let go of it to go into next? And so God, we've started this nonprofit called the Mississippi Confine. It's an umbrella of ministries. And we have an office there right off the Court Square in Philadelphia. God has just put us right downtown. And we've set up these healing rooms. We've completely renovated this building. God had a guy, McLean Plumbing up in that area, and they also work with Yates Construction. I know Yates is big down here. Yates is from our area. And but some of the Yates folks with Edwards Electric, they completely did a brand new electrical service for us. That old building, nobody been in it 10 years. It's an office building. They just said, we're going to do that. $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. It was a major deal, okay? Then the McLean Plumbing folks come in, and our feeding ministry, they gave us a 5-ton heating and cooling, gas and electric unit for that feeding ministry. $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, something like that. I don't know. Then the guy said, Chris, I'm going to do the same thing for y'all's little Mississippi Combine office. This was like about a week. $10,000, $12,000, $13,000. But here we had stepped out. The reason I'm sharing this with you, we had stepped out of a comfortable salary. Crossway had become kind of a full-time thing for us. Stacy's nursing. And God said, Joshua says, I want you to go away you've never gone before. We've never been this way before. Now, here's the reason we're preaching this morning, right? You got to deal with either faith or fear, right? Faith, fear. How many good Christian folks have you heard talk themselves out of doing what God? And they make it sound good. We can make it sound good, can't we? Oh, I really think that was God, but I just don't know. And then we come, you know how much that will cost, right? It gets into all of this, right? Well, so I've been unemployed for about 3.5 months. And the Lord, we're still eating. We're still drove down. We're still making car payments, still making house payments. We realize that as we go into January, God's about to He's about to either split the Red Sea for us and show us His glory, or we're going to make Him distant, or He's not faithful. We know He's faithful. We keep getting all these words. God keeps speaking right now, saying, expect supernatural breakthrough. Expect blessings for our nation. And what happens with it? You're going to see in this text. When you start believing this stuff, and something in your spirit, when the Holy Spirit starts saying, I'm about to do that, and everything out there says, no, it can't happen, you got to make sure you keep believing it, and then what? You keep speaking it, right? Is there power in our tongues? Man, don't you just get so frustrated with people you get around who say, well, I don't know if our nation can ever turn around. I don't know. All this nonsense. When what we as believers, we're supposed to believe He can turn around for us individually. But that what? There's such power that if God could just speak and the earth come into existence, man. All this stuff that you and me, God says, look, you just step out there with me and I'll do it for you, right? So here's the text. Verse 1 says, the Lord said to Moses, send some men to explore the land of Canaan. Here it is. Which I am giving to the Israelites. Now, don't jump over that. He says, send men out, check the land out. He said, I'm going to give it to you. Do you understand? We're saved by what? Grace through faith, right? It was just a gift. That night at Promise Keepers, when He wrecked my life, man, He didn't say, Chris, because you deserve it, because your mama thinks you're a good boy. He said, no, it's a gift, right? And then as we step into this deal, it becomes, as we keep going from faith to faith. Come on, faith, United Methodist Church. Faith to faith to faith. He says He gives even a greater grace. He even gives more grace, right? But see, we get to a place that we say, this is kind of comfortable. Remember when the group did come out into the Promised Land? There was a group right there on the edge of the Promised Land who said, we kind of like it right here. We'll stay here. Moses said, actually, Moses was Joshua right by that time, said, no, you're going to go in and fight for your brothers and sisters, but you can go back over there if you want to. Who were two guys out of the spies that we all remember the name? We're fixing to see 12 spies. Who were the two that we know? Caleb, come on, and Joshua. Who in the world were the other 10? Nobody even cares, right? Nobody even cares. And see what you got there. I don't think to be harsh, right? That's it. There you go. Come on. That's part of it. Just how did this happen? All this kind of stuff, right? 10 folks go in there and they say, you can see it. Man, it's a great thing. That would so be good. But I don't know if we can do it. But Joshua and see, Stacey and I have got some of that in us. I thank God for a little Caleb in me. For a little Joshua in me that says, Caleb, even years down the road, said, give me my mountain, right? See, that's a word for some of y'all right now. There's somebody in here right now, that's a word for you. That it's your point in life. Holy Spirit's saying, you can still do it. You can still take it. Heal the cancer. Thanks. You got a story to tell. You need to be shouting. Because what? We really believe what? I mean, Jeff's been laying this out there for y'all. We really believe signs and wonders are about to just break forward. I believe just more and more. So what? Some of us just need to share the story, right? Because faith rises when people hear that, and then we start saying, why wouldn't He do it for me, right? So you send out 12 people. God says, I'm going to give it. And He says He sends one from each ancestral tribe, sends the leaders. Now, if you pick up, I want us to come down, verse 21, right? These 12 go out. 2 of them were Joshua and Caleb. They went up and they explored the land. And it says in verse 22, they went up through the Negev, came to Hebron, and then he lays out all these big names. We're going to skip right over that. It says, verse 23, when they reached the valley of Eshcol, don't you love this? They cut off a branch bearing a single cluster of grapes. 2 of them carried on a pole between them, along with some pomegranates and figs. They had this big cluster of grapes. I've got a little, Stacey and I went to the Holy Land some years ago. I've got a little olive wood figure of those 2 guys with grapes hanging to the ground. Now, this is where Faith United Methodist Church needs to rise up, right? Nothing is impossible, even in Pascha. What did the guy say about Jesus? Can anything good come out of Nazareth? Can anything really change in Pascagoula? Now, I've had some relatives from down there. I'm not cursing Pascagoula, make sure you're but some of you who've been here for years, you start settling into this. This is the way it's been in Pascagoula. And then you start saying with power, it's probably the way it's going to stay. When folks like Joshua and Caleb say, no, I've got this forerunner spirit in me that will never be satisfied on the other side of the Jordan. No, I'm supposed to go in. I'm supposed to have the promise. I'll never be satisfied, right? Even as we have days that I battle through some real lies from the enemy about, man, how is all that going to get paid for? Here's what we've stepped into. We've stepped out into this journey, but the big reason we're there is there's a 3-story hotel right off the Court Square. It's called the old Benwalt Hotel, that actually back in the 60s, when the civil rights murders took place, the FBI took over the Benwalt Hotel. They commandeered, I guess is the word. They took over the hotel and did their whole deal. Some people from California bought it about 10 to 15 years ago, and they were going to turn it into a civil rights museum hotel. They were going to do this $5 million project. Well, it didn't happen. So here, there's 2 places, Isaiah 58, at least 2 places, Isaiah 58 and Isaiah 61. Scripture says, we are going to restore, remember, the ancient ruins. The ancient ruins. We've got this concrete structure hotel that our Mississippi Combine has put a $5,000 6-month option to buy that hotel. We got it through the end of March. So here we have God, the way He kind of did this office thing next to it. Somebody had thrown a big block off of the hotel onto the office next door to it. Water was pouring in the office we're in right now. Nobody been in that place in 10 years. We found out about it. We said, wow, I think we're supposed to do something with this because it has a roof. Everything's kind of ready. This other one's kind of leaking a little bit, doing some of this through the concrete. This thing's got a flat roof, concrete roof. It's like a balcony overlooking the city of Philadelphia. The water tower that says Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, is right behind the hotel. It is like smack dab in the center of the town. God's called us to step out of church, to rebuild ancient ruins, and we say, with what? Some of these big architects and all these people, they say, man, and we've got to sound crazy to the world, but it's got to be so pleasing to my Father who loves us. When we say, we don't know, but we just think God's going to do something, right? So we're in this deal. So what happens, we start getting free electrical service, we're getting ACs, all this. Now the little building, we've got our healing rooms, and We do a Philadelphia House of Prayer, kind of like an IHOP over in Kansas City. We're wanting to become more of a continuous praise and worship. But right now, we're just doing like one night a week. Different pastors, different churches. We're not a church, right? We do Monday and Tuesday nights, these meetings. But now our building, the little office building next to the hotel, if you can follow all my stuff, was going to cost us $400 a month rent, okay? After we did about $30,000 to $40,000 in improvements, most of it was donated. The people said, why don't you just not worry about rent for a couple of years? Wow. Come on now, isn't that something? So we're in this, but here we are. We're still at this Joshua Caleb deal. God, there are giants in the land. There are giants in Philadelphia. There are giants in Pascagoula. The biggest giant I've ever faced is not Goliath. The biggest giant, this is what you've got to deal with, faith in our Methodist Church. The biggest giant is, will our Father provide for us? See, the church, in so many instances, we've said we can only do what we can afford. We need to bring in some good business people to pay the offering, right? God says, I'll provide, right? So the big question, the big deal is, can we? And so by faith, as we're stepping into this thing, we're like, Lord, if you don't show up, we're done. Now, that kind of scares you sometimes. But it also, what we've seen, it exhilarates you. And it gives you authority to say and do some things, come on now, that chickens can't say. Right? See, if you always stay in the boat, like the other disciples did when Peter got out, all you can do is listen to their sermons. But if you get out of the boat, you get to tell people you walked on water. Right? You get to tell people he brought you through, right? And so I'm sharing this with you. We're in a spot. I wish we were here in January, February, and I was saying, man, somebody walked up and wrote me a check for $100,000, and that's how. See, we're not there yet. We're not. We're in this spot of, okay, we get out of the boat. We've seen when God brought that new unit, God did that electrical, and God started, people, we did about $3,000 worth of carpet in there. It cost us about $700. Folks just, so boom, 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 boom. But we know we're coming to this place that what? When the Israelites, when they looked back to Egypt, and the army was coming after them, make sure you don't do this. Some of them said, man, I'd have been good just staying and be a slave. Oh, well, we didn't really want to leave. What? You bring us out here to die? Now, see, that's not y'all, right? It's not us. We didn't want to stay in a comfortable spot. We didn't want to just go through the motions. But when you step out to go toward the promised land, understand the wind's going to blow, storms are going to come, valleys are going to be there. But what? We've got a word from the Lord to go, right? And so what's going to happen? If Stacy and I can write a check and completely restore that hotel, see, what we're going to do is we want to have a place that when some dysfunctional, let's say it that way, dysfunctional churches fire their pastors and they get kicked out on the streets, we bring a pastor and his family into like an apartment of that place. There's just like 60 rooms in this thing. A basement, got 22,000 square feet. It's crazy. They're not wanting much, but here's the deal. Nobody's torn it down yet because it takes so much to tear it down. And so it's just sitting there. So God's saying, please restore my ancient ruins. Restore. So that as it raises up, it's not just to build a big nice hotel. That's not going to be it. It's going to be we've heard two different things. This is what will kind of whack you out, right? Actually, three people, when they've been close to that hotel over the past 2 to 3 years, they've spoken this one word, epicenter. Epicenter. Now, when you heard it the first time, oh, that's a nice idea. This could be an epicenter of ministry. When that third guy, who had nothing to do with the other two guys, said, I hear the word epicenter, I thought, Lord, this may be an epicenter, right? You must really have a plan, right? But I'm telling you, Faith United Methodist Church, what he's looking for with all of us is, I'm thankful I got my 3 years at New Orleans, Jeff's doing the Greek and Hebrew, I did my Greek and Hebrew, did all of that master's work, and I'm so thankful for that. But that doesn't please God like faith. Faith's what pleases Him, right? So notice here, it comes right on that. I've kind of preached through most of this, but I want you to hear this. It says, verse 26, right, chapter 13. They came back to Moses and Aaron, the whole Israelite community at Kadesh in the desert of Paran, where they reported to them in the whole assembly. Now, do you understand now? It's not just you declaring with the power of your tongue what you believe. What you whisper to people in this body can either raise this church up or help hold it back or even destroy it, right? We've seen that in our 6 years. We've gotten to the place where we saw God did some miraculous stuff in the church. And then it got to a good, comfortable place. It was kind of like, well, no real problems, but it just wasn't going like we need. God, we're called to go, right? But what happens when people in the body, in the assembly, start saying things like, I know y'all won't do this, but people say, man, Jeff probably needs to kind of tone down a little. He's in seminary now. He's not living in the real world. He just needs to relax. He doesn't know what I'm going through. So that kind of stuff, those words, they have power, right? So you need to make sure that it's whatever part you think you have in this deal, that you're speaking life. You're saying things like this. Man, our pastor and his wife, or our pastors, however y'all call them, view them. You say, man, God, we know you put them there. I am here to submit to their authority. I'm here to honor them. I want to do whatever I can to help them achieve the vision God's given, right? No looking back. We speak that because it creates a culture that will bring life, right? It causes people to come in here and say, man, what is God going to do today? So here as they begin to talk, it says, they gave him this account. We went into the land which you sent us. Remember one of the first verses we read. God said, go spy out what I'm giving you. Don't you love the story of Joshua when they walked around the walls of Jericho? And then first part of Joshua 1, he says, I'll give you every place you set your foot. You better believe in that hotel. I've been all over that roof. I've been down in that basement. I've been all around that thing. And there are moments that I'm like, Lord, you said it, not me. You said you're going to give us this. You're going to give us this. Because what? There's authority. Christ in me and you. The hope of glory, right? He's raising us up not just to win souls, right? Yes, to win them, to make disciples, but to see his kingdom established on the earth. Just like what you said, getting that guy in a job, then in a home, you start seeing things change. And so people aren't just throwing a little money and saying, well, I hope it gets better. No, we're saying we're willing to persevere to change. And that's why I'm sure praying for Trump, and I'm praying for this cabinet, and I'm praying that man, we're about 44 years old. I'm praying that I'm about to see as good as the Reagan days that everybody talks about. I'm believing for it to be better than those were. I believe that people look back and say, why? But it starts, I believe, with people of faith, the church, the body of Christ, saying, we're in this thing. We're behind it. We're really praying. We're really pressing in. So they're speaking this. They're going, and here's what kind of finishes it up. It says, it does flow with milk and honey. Your promised land. Understand that some of you aren't called to do a hotel. Some of you, but you're called into, whether it's promised land, here it is, with your family. You say, man, we've had some tough. I believe there's still promised land out there. Promised land in our health. I don't know if y'all saw this. Virginia, the University of Virginia, the football team, they've got a statistician. I saw this on the ESPN. 106 years old. I saw this weekend. He's still doing numbers. How does a 106-year-old? See, some of us have believed, man, I'll do good to make it to 65. This guy's 106 still. How does he see, man? Do you believe God? Maybe there's more power in our tongues than some of us believe. Maybe we need to start believing. Man, we're going to live cancer-free. We're going to live these full, long lives, right? So he says, man, they start seeing all this milk and honey. Here's its fruit. They even show it. But, there it is, verse 28. But, so y'all got to deal with yours. I'm wrapping this up. We're fixing to kind of wind it down, okay? You got to decide what your BUT is. What's keeping this church from changing this community radically, right? You say, and we all know this, well, this is the way we've always done it. Who cares, right? That's nice. I appreciate some tradition. I try to honor and do. But what really matters right now, it's not about this or that. What's God saying? If that's what worked and he wants you to keep doing it, right? But if that's something that's not, and I can tell by some of the things y'all kind of cut out of the bulletin or do, we don't just do it because we've always done it, right? But we say, God, what is it you called? So no buts. No, Lord, I'll press in, I'll keep feeding, I'll keep doing all of this stuff, right? And he says, but the people who live there, they're powerful. The cities are fortified. Our mountain, our giant, if you will, is how much it's going to cost. And I believe part of what God's called us to step into, I believe there's a pretty good poverty spirit over the state of Mississippi that is starting to lose its power. Okay? I believe it is. But it takes people who walk by faith. What does he say? Jesus taught us to pray. God, give us our daily bread. Not, Lord, I'm focused on 30 years down the road retirement. I'm all worried about that right now. Yeah, plan. That's not what I'm talking about. But he says what? God, I trust you for today. And so what we say, without faith, it's impossible to please. So when we get all this cushion around us and we say, now, even if it all crumbles, I'll still be okay. Somehow in there, we miss the presence and power of God. Amen. Because we've kind of become our own idols, right? I'm not knocking. I'm just saying the Lord's kept calling us to a place of saying, do you trust me? One of the best ways, if you want to get into that spot, is you keep giving. You keep sowing. You may not be called to go pray this specific thing. You sow into those folks. Jeff, notice what they're doing with seminary. We just were so blessed last night hearing some of what God's up to and He's doing. But in the Methodist denomination, you get in there, you work, you sow, you get after it. Because a lot of us can really pour a little more in than we thought we could, right? Just time, energy, the whole thing, right? And so we've already done the offering, so we're not asking for that. We're just saying you look for ways that you do that, right? Here's how it finishes. We even saw the descendants of Anak, they're large, powerful folks, right? Then he starts talking about the Amalekites, Hittites, Jebusites, all of them. Here's the word. Here's where we close. Jeff says, y'all usually finish right around 12:30. Then Caleb silenced the people before Moses and said, we should go up and take possession of the land, for we can certainly do it. Now, you hear people say, man, I wish I could be a fly on the wall. I wish I could have heard. When all that, man, there's a lot of folks out there. This wasn't just a little small leadership group at the church, right? And all these people are saying, man, let me tell you how big these people are. Let me tell you, those walls are rock solid, man. I just don't know how it can happen, right? And when you get around that, it goes downhill quick, right? When you start hearing those people, I just don't. And here's one of the things we've learned in the last couple of years in church. I would rather just, what you see is what you get. Y'all like that? I mean, I have a hard time with people who really say they're with me, but they're really not. The church, I think it's just good for the church to put all our cards on the table, no pun intended or anything. Just put it out there and say, this is what I believe, this is what, if I'm struggling, if I'm a little afraid, if I don't know, let me just share that with my brother, with my sister, say, Jeff, I really want to believe, I really want to go with you, but I'm just be patient with me, right? But let's not say we're in it. And then really down the road, I never was, right? Because you're going to have people, 2 out of 12, right? That's what happened here. 2 out of 12 said, Lord, you said you're going to give me my promised land. I believe there's a good number here today in this place that you still haven't gotten. Now here we go, we're at Thanksgiving, right? We're full of gratitude. We are so thankful for all He's done, right? But understand, it's not about being ungrateful. But some of us are saying, Lord, this has been good, but I believe there's more. I believe you've got more for me. I believe you've got more for my family. I believe you've got more for my health. I believe there's these things coming, right? And so Caleb says, we can do it, right? I just release that over this church. And y'all can do it in Jesus' name, right? All He's looking for. A couple of folks to send in. Nehemiah, when they rebuilt the wall, right? Chuck Swindoll wrote a book some years ago. He just said, give me another brick. Give me, that's the title of the book. Give me that. He said, when all people came to oppose, when all the different things, he just said, give me another brick. I want to keep building my wall, right? That's what you and I are called to do. The last thing He's been teaching us, Jesus said it, it's usually pretty solid. He says, Don't worry about tomorrow. And how will you do that? He said each day's got enough trouble, right? When I start thinking about retirement, and Blue Cross insurance, and car payments, and all these things, I hear the Spirit of God take the Word of God and say, Chris, didn't I tell you? You just be thankful today. Trust me today. You don't worry about tomorrow. If it gets here, we'll take care of it. That's revelation. I don't know about y'all. We got so many people we're living so far ahead, right? And so today, it'll really, you can throw some stuff off your shoulders today. We'll just say, God, I'm thankful it's a beautiful day on the Mississippi coast. It's a beautiful day, right? Let me pray, and then you're going to pray for us. I appreciate that. And then Stacy and I will be up here. If anybody needs prayer from me, or from her, or both together, or if you need to ease out, you feel free. Because we really, if there's something you're reaching out to Him for, we just want to be channels of blessing, okay? Father, thank you for how your Word has gone forth. Thank you for this congregation. Thank you for so many special things that you've been doing in this house and through this house. And Lord, I know there's just some exciting things stirring. And Lord, today I just kind of feel like we kind of came along to fan the flame just a little bit. To say, man, that flame's blazing. Just fan it just a little. Just fan it because they're stepping into more. Father, I thank you for new ministries that they're going to step into in this new year. Father, I thank you for marriages that are about to get better than people even thought they ever could be. I thank you for families that are coming back together. Father, I thank you that there is a sweet spirit of unity in this house, but I thank you that it's even going to go deeper. It's going to even get closer, Father. And so as people come in, He says, by this all men will know that you're my disciples, by how you love one another. That's it. Thank you that they do that, Father, and I thank you that there's more to come. So, Holy Spirit, we just say, have your way. If there's somebody who needs to come home to you today, somebody who needs to confess or repent, or if there's somebody who needs that physical healing touch, or there's somebody who just needs a fresh word from you, Father, we say, you release what needs to go forth tonight. Thank you. Thank you for Faith United Methodist Church. I thank you, Lord, there's so much in a name. So much in a name. And I thank you that the greatest days for Faith United Methodist Church are ahead. Lord, I believe that with all my heart. And I just declare that. I thank you that this group, young, old, in between, all in the spots, Father, they're going in. They're going into all that you have. The promised land, milk and honey. It's what's made for us, right? Sons and daughters, you've got the good gifts. You love to give good gifts to your children. So bless your people, Father, as we finish. In Jesus' name.